In this video, we will be going over how to access the search platform and view our property records, our for sale listings, our for lease listings, as well as how to access our cbaCMA listings. We do also have a business opportunity search that you would access in a separate place. If you'd like to see the steps for how to search for a business opportunity, please be sure to view that video. It is separate from this one, but we will go ahead and get started. So to launch the listings platform and perform a search, you're going to want to go ahead and click this orange search commercial listings button if you're logged in. And what that will do is take you into the search map here. You can see it starts by just telling me how many properties I have on the area that I'm zoomed into. Before we get started with performing a search, we're going to just go ahead and get familiar with the search map first. So you can see as I start to zoom in our local area, all of those little dots that you're seeing, we call them skittles, are going to start to have a letter appear on them. And that's just because each of those little dots just represents a different asset class. So you can see as we get close, those blue dots have an I for industrial. These purple dots have an L for land, the green R's for retail, or sorry, red O's for office. There's also going to be an orange S for specialty, and then a yellow M for multifamily. If ever you have a question about what those dots are, you'll also be able to see that based on the primary asset class of the property in your results over here on the right. Additionally, you could always go to the type category, and then from this drop down, you'll be able to see those here. Go over that tab in just a little bit here. I just want to get us more familiar with the map as well. So you can see the number of properties I have in my results has significantly dwindled down. And that's just because as the system is fully integrated with Google Maps, this does also update your geolocation search filter. So as you're moving the map, zooming or focusing on a particular area, listings outside of your zoomed area are no longer going to appear in your results over here on the right. So again, based on how far you are zoomed in or zoomed out on the map, that is going to act as one of your first filters. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit here just so we can see more of the area. Some additional options you have as far as using the map goes are going to be to draw a shape. So if you have a client that's looking for a specific area, sometimes drawing a shape is going to be a lot easier than zooming into that specific area or typing in the locations, which we'll cover later. So to draw a shape, you're just going to click, and then you're going to drag your shape around. Once I've got that where I want it to be, it'll close. I can go ahead and hit apply shape. And now only the properties or listings based on what I've got checked are going to appear in my results over on the right. And again, you can see how many are included in that up there above in your results. You can draw as many or as few shapes as you'd like. So if you need to draw in a second one, you would just click draw another shape. Click, drag, and repeat that process. So I'll let that close, then I'll hit apply shape. Now anything that appears in that second shape is going to be included in my results as well. And you can see 198 has increased here. You can remove shapes at any time by hitting clear shape, and that's going to add everything in the area we're zoomed into back in again. Outside of drawing shapes, you're also able to draw a radii. So we just click draw radius. You're going to drop the center of that radius where you'd like it to be. And again, depending on how zoomed out or zoomed in you are on this map will impact the default of the radius for you. So as I'm zoomed a little bit further out, it just started at 0.5 miles, but you can always adjust this by dragging or dropping the outsides of that radius. So once I zoomed it in, I can now see it's just a 0.3 mile radius. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And just like with our shape, only the items that appeared within that radii are going to appear in my results over here on the right. And you can draw as many or a few of those as you'd like. Again, I'm going to drop my center here, and then I'm going to just zoom it in quite a bit. I've got just 0.1. I'm going to apply that radius, and now only items within those two radii are going to appear in my results over on the right. You can see my number of properties has increased. I'm going to go ahead and clear the radii there. The next thing we're going to go over is how to use the location tab. You can search for specific locations using this one. I'm actually going to go over to the actual location tab. So you can see here under location, I can type in the city. And as they start to have matches, you'll see results down below. You just select the appropriate one to add that to your results. Since I've selected Seattle, it's going to zoom me out and show me all of Seattle. You can see my number of properties has greatly increased. You can add as many or as few locations as you'd like as well. I'm going to take Seattle out and kind of dwindle our results a little bit more. So you can look for zip codes. If I do 98106, it's going to pull me over to West Seattle, but you can see I've got quite a few less results and it's moved me over into that area. And you can add as many or as few filters as you'd like here too. So I'm just going to add in a second zip code here. You can also do a whole county. It's really up to you how you want to look at this, but again, you can add as many or as few as you'd like. Now that I've applied those two zip codes as my location filters, it's added all of the properties within those two areas in for me. The next step after you decide how you want to search for location is to move over to type. You can see here all properties in those two areas are selected, but it doesn't mention anything about listings. And that's because I've not selected a type yet. So right now I'm just looking at all of the buildings or property records that we have in that area. To look at actual listings, you would want to select an appropriate listing type. So you could select if you are active for sell or for lease, or if you're wanting to look for off market, you could look for our leased or sold. Or you can look for any properties that are currently off the market as well. I'm going to go ahead and just select for lease and for sale so we can see all of the filters that are available to us. Dependent on which filters you select in this type section are going to change the filters that you have available to you in the other areas. So I just selected those two so you can see the most that are there. The next thing that you want to keep in mind here is that less is more. So the fewer search filters you have, the more results you're going to have. So I did just start as basic with just for sell and for lease. Some other things to keep in mind when you're looking at this type tab here that trip people up sometimes are going to be the space use versus the property/building. So spaces is going to be anything that the particular space could be used as, whereas property/building is going to be the primary use of the property or what the most space in that building is being used as. I'm going to go ahead and select office under space use. You can see now I'm searching for office space in all types of buildings. So that's going to allow me to see office space in the bottom of any property type, not just limiting me only to office buildings. We do suggest if you're doing this to use the space use when you're looking for lease listings and then the property type when you're looking for sale listings. So you can see here in particular, I've got some office space that's saying it's available in multifamily buildings or a primary use of land. I'll show you what happens when I switch from searching for office space use to the office property/building type. My number of results has dwindled down, and I'm no longer seeing that multifamily or those land spaces. So you would be missing out on the office space in the bottom of those multifamily buildings if you're searching for lease and looking at the property/building instead of the space use. One great way to remind yourself what you're looking at is this is letting you know you're just looking for space in office buildings. Whereas if I was to select space use, it's letting me know I'm looking for office space in all property types. So I'm going to have more results available for me by using space use versus using the property/building. The next few tabs to go over are going to be condensed. So if you want to fill in a lease rate or a sell price or any of the square footage, you just click on those to expand them. One thing I like to remind people to do is just make sure that when you're looking at the formulas, you fill in the accurate formula. So you don't want to type in, $3,000 per square foot for a year if you're wanting to look at as just a $3,000 per month. So just keep that in mind as you're going through the process. And then again, if you want to expand anything, you just click on it and then you'll be able to fill in those boxes. I'm going to go over to this More tab now. This is where you'll see a lot more filters that our users are looking for. So pending listings are included as an available status. If you'd like to exclude those, that is in the More category under Exclude Pending. Here you're also able to search for the agent by agent name. If you don't see it right away, you can just continue typing until they come up. You can see as I continue typing, my CBA instructor stayed there. But if I did have that selected, only results under that agent name would appear. You can do that with companies as well. You do have to do the correct spelling in order for them to pop up. But you do have quite a few more filters here that you didn't have in the previous categories as well. Additionally, you've got keyword available. This is really refined. So if you had something really specific that you were searching for, we would suggest using the keyword as your primary search filter and applying that before filling in any of your other filters. That covers the gist of these search filters here. The last search filters I am going to show you is just how to access our cbaCMAs. The process for everything remains the same. You just have to do two additional things to get to those. So I'm going to go back over here to type, and instead of my active listing types, I'm going to go ahead and select sold instead. Now, when I go over to price/size, I'm now going to have access for this only confirmed prices. What that does is take you into the cbaCMAs, which are researched by the CBA staff. And then one more thing that we do suggest when you are doing a CMA search is go into more and give that a date sold range. And the reason we suggest that is if you don't put in that date sold range, you're going to see everything that's been input by our cbaCMA team in the system, when really maybe you just need something for the last few months. That will dwindle down quite a bit. So again, to search for our cbaCMAs, you would go to the type sold. Under price/size, click confirm prices only, and then suggested we give you, you would enter a date sold range. I'm going to go ahead and go back just to our available listings for the rest of this searching series. Now that I've added that back in, I've got those results. And that covers the basics as far as how to search goes.